Will you perhaps explore Knoll?
Knoll? What is this? Huh, it must be nothing. I don't know what that person's talking about. Venturing into the unforgiving expanse of the Mojave wasteland, every shadow conceals a lurking threat, and the sun-scorched landscape is a graveyard of forgotten hopes. As you navigate the treacherous terrain teeming with mutated monstrosities, each step you take echoes with the whispers of the past. The Mojave wasteland is not just a desolate stretch of land, it is a haunted battlefield where the line between life and death blurs.
UVB-68 signal found?
Russian number stations? I am so confused. However, the biggest horror in the Mojave might not be anything within the playable area. Instead, the out-of-bounds section may offer the biggest horrors.
Okay, Dr. Bosch. Gone too soon.
About 1 year ago, a YouTuber by the name of Dr. Bosch started uploading videos of Fallout New Vegas. Now, the first video seemed pretty innocent. It was just detailing a glitch to get outside of the map. But as Dr. Bosch continues further outside of the map, he enters a liminal space hellscape. Now, of course, this is not real. It's an AGR, a kind of like creepypasta. If you've ever seen something like Ben Drowned from Majora's Mask, then you already have an idea of what it's like. And this series is actually pretty good, so I highly recommend checking out another video if you really want to see more about this series of Dr. Bosch. Now, for this video, since I've had a lot of comments referencing that series in my Unexplored Mojave, I decided to go ahead and trace some of Dr. Bosch's footsteps. So the first place I wanted to check out were these ruins outside the Mojave outpost. In Dr. Bosch's video, he jumps up here and talks about parkour, and you can do the same thing in the vanilla game, but there is not really anything up there. So we continued down the highway to see where it leads us. Now, I did want to say something about liminal spaces. What are they? Liminal spaces are often empty and eerie transitional places like abandoned malls, deserted hallways, vacant parking lots, etc., and they evoke a deep and unsettling fear. This fear stems from their uncanny nature, where familiar settings become disturbingly unfamiliar, which strip away our sense of safety and normalcy. In these kind of in-between spaces, the boundaries of reality blur, triggering our primal anxieties and creating a sense of being caught kind of between worlds, where anything could happen and nothing feels right. And so video games, especially places in video games where we are not supposed to be, can evoke a deep and unsettling fear. And this is about where Bosch would discover his first anomaly, with the weird antenna protruding out of the ground, but as you can see, obviously it's not here, and we can see the Mojave outpost in the distance. Our next stop is the abandoned house, which Bosch found. So this was my best guess as to where the house was that Bosch found, somewhere in this area, but as you can see, there is no house here, of course, but just very empty and a little bit spooky with all of the ambient sound that plays. So our next goal was to go to the north where Bosch went for the next location. This is where he found UVB signal 68. And this was a very long kind of trek, but I made it not too long. And then we found the area where there was like a barrel and burning fire, along with where he found the hut. And this is where things in the video, to me at least, started getting really creepy because of the voices on the UVB 68. But as you can see, there is nothing here. So from here on out, I'm going to stop following Bosch just because there's nothing out here. So I'm going to actually highlight some places that are kind of interesting outside of the explorable game. So as you approach the canyon wreckage, which takes you to the Lonesome Road DLC, you're going to find this huge like valley in between all of these mountains. So I just thought it looked really pretty and quite majestic, and it's just an area that I didn't anticipate to find. So I thought it was interesting that they built up all of these mountains around it, and then there's just a flat valley. But over to the right, you can see the canyon wreckage. So as you approach the canyon wreckage, you're going to notice this like radio tower, which is actually floating, but of course you're not supposed to see that much detail. You're just supposed to see it sticking up out of the ground. And over here we have a crashed bus, and I tried to go inside the bus, and my character got permanently stuck. And I couldn't get out, so the best way to deal with this was a mini nuke. So if you ever decide to explore outside the map, just make sure to save a lot, because you never know what kind of weird glitch or issue you're going to run into. So as we approach the canyon wreckage, we just see a lot of debris, and you can go inside this silo, but there's nothing inside of it. But if you approach the door for the Lonesome Road for the canyon wreckage, you're going to notice it's going to actually teleport you to the other side of the map, which I thought was kind of weird, and this is something that Chungus had mentioned in a previous video. And there we go, it just teleported me right on the other side, and I'm not sure why it does that. So after this, I reloaded the save, and I continued my way north, and eventually I found this lone bush, and I was really puzzled because you hardly ever, if ever, see vegetation way out here. So I found this lone bush, and I decided to highlight it because I just thought it was kind of weird and creepy, given, you know, we're talking about liminal spaces, and this bush is just sitting here. I don't know what purpose it has. So over by Red Rock Canyon, you're going to find the secret passage from Red Rock Canyon towards Jacobstown. This is a place I already covered in a previous video, actually 2 videos, but you can see it from out of bounds pretty well, and you can see how they designed it pretty well. So just kind of interesting. And after a lot of struggling, I was able to climb Mount Charleston near Jacobstown and get to one of the top peaks, and you can get a really good view of Jacobstown from the top. So I just thought it was pretty cool, because normally you cannot go all the way to the top. It stops you just below. So pretty cool. So our next stop was the Highway 95 boundary. I kind of covered this location in my video Where Did the Nukes Fall in Fallout New Vegas, as this is the location of a nuclear detonation, most likely. And there's really not much there, but you can just see the wreckage from the other side. So our next location was the Zeta alien spacecraft. This only spawns if you have the Wild Wasteland perk, and I did a previous video on this location, just the Zeta aliens, Unexplored Mojave. And as Ian Boykin pointed out in that video, this UFO is supposedly from the Wreckage in Fallout 3, and it even has the same like shattered canopy and stuff, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 shared a lot of the same assets, right? I mean, Obsidian was in a real rush to make this game, so they didn't really recreate many assets, so it makes sense. So after checking out the UFO, I decided to start heading north, and I started traveling along this ridge, and to my east you can see Nellis Air Force Base. And the reason I was going up here is Chungus recommended that there's a weird, slightly lower platform on the north central edge of the map, which overlooks an endless ocean, so I was determined to find that. So thank you for the recommendation, Chungus. Also, I wanted to see the end of the highway here because this is the same road which starts at the Mojave outpost, so I wanted to travel from one end to the other. And then here is the end of Interstate 15, or at least the other end of it. So at the beginning of the video, we saw the ending near Mojave outpost, and here is the ending on the northern part of the map. However, the texture here has no hit detection, so you just phase through the texture. So it's kind of interesting they brought it out this far. The only reasoning I could think of is they want to make sure from at least Nellis Air Force Base, it looks like the road goes on for forever. So after a lot of traveling, I found this like depression or valley on the edge of the map where everything sinks down into the ground. And then I found the square lowered platform that Chungus was talking about. So really interesting, and there was some speculation about what use this platform might serve within the game. And in the comments, Gelatin Coffee suggested that maybe it has something to do with the Honest Hearts DLC, or perhaps it's a place for dead bodies to be deposited. However, I don't really know myself, so if you have any theories about what function this platform serves, please leave them in the comment section below. Now, this is a pretty significant fall, so if you come here, make sure that you're healed and that you have some way to repair your limbs. After falling on the platform, though, you're pretty much stuck here. There's no way to get back up, and if you go to the next ledge, you find an endless ocean. And you can jump into the ocean, but it's actually irradiated at +1 rad per second. So you will not be able to survive in the ocean for any significant amount of time. And I tried to swim for a long time in this ocean, but it just was literally endless. And I tried to go as far as it would let me. Here is me jumping into the endless ocean, and I went for a long time until it eventually killed me. And I can say there is absolutely nothing. And I turned away to say goodbye to the land, because eventually the land even disappeared. But there's nothing out here, just endless ocean. And here it is on the map, since I didn't really show it earlier. But yeah, you will not get anywhere. Now maybe using mods or console commands you could find some kind of end, but as far as I'm aware, it's endless. And there's where I finally died from radiation poisoning. Alright guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. This is the 50th episode of the Unexplored Mojave. So to everybody who's been watching and supporting this series, thank you so much. Honestly, when I started this series, I didn't anticipate it to do this well, and I look forward to continuing this series in Fallout New Vegas, the DLC, and possibly other Fallout games. Again, I really appreciate everything you guys have done to support this channel, all of the recommendations. My success is our success, so thank you so much. And I found this really cool mountain to end the video on with a very beautiful view of the Mojave Wasteland. Also, as always, if you have recommendations, please put them in the comments section below. I read through all of the comments. I'm listening to you guys. If you recommend a place and I don't get to it right away, I apologize. But please know I have a list of places to make videos about, and I will get there eventually. Again, thank you so much, and until next time.